to broaden the base from which one views the world. Not just what's in it for me, but where do I fit into the larger picture of things? I think we can't survive as a democracy unless we're able to provide that kind of balance. My name is Ron Eller, and I'm originally from West Virginia. I think people might be surprised to learn that I am most comfortable walking in the woods, or fishing on a stream, or working with my hands, doing woodwork. I remember when I first went off to college, both of my grandfathers, one a coal miner, one a preacher, got me aside and said to me, "Now, Ronnie, you go off to college, but you be sure to read through them books." What they meant was for me not to change who I was. I was the first one in my family ever to go to college. My ancestors, for generations, were farmers and coal miners. I had 5 brothers and sisters, and my father was a barber who had a 6th grade education. So I had to finance my own way through college. At the end of my sophomore year, I wasn't going to have enough money to come back to school the following year. And I went in to see the college dean to inform him that my grandfather had gotten me a job in one of the local mines. And the dean said something to me that changed my life. He said, "Don't worry about this." He says, "We'll find a way to bring you back to school because we need to keep people like you on our campus to provide balance to the student body." But as I was walking out of the dean's office, that phrase stuck in my head. What did he mean, provide balance to the student body? For the first time, I realized that they saw me in a different kind of way. Because I represented someone from Appalachia. I very much wanted to understand what had happened in the region and why the region had suffered such persistent poverty. The more I became involved in the war on poverty and asking questions about my own personal identity as an Appalachian person, the more I began to realize the relationship between knowledge and information and public policy. I made the decision that I needed to go on to graduate school to write the history of the region based upon research and evidence. Finished my PhD and took my first job at a small mountain college in Western North Carolina, Mars Hill College, where I wrote my first book, Miners, Mill Hands, and Mountaineers. That's where I first began to come in contact with a number of scholars from the University of Kentucky, like Tom Ford in sociology, John Stevenson in sociology. The University of Kentucky was the leading research institute. It had the capacity to have an impact upon public policy in the region. It also had the capacity to produce graduate students who could become faculty at the colleges and universities in the region. And all of those things attracted me to UK. I came to UK in 1985 with a joint appointment in the history department as professor of history and as director of the UK Appalachian Center. My own experiences had been that education was a transformative thing that could empower not only individuals but could empower communities. And so I was determined that the Appalachian Center would be used to provide those kinds of services and benefits to communities in eastern Kentucky. We had a broad range of faculty who were interested in applying their knowledge and understanding to the region, who had themselves grown up in the mountains. We did programs in educational outreach, in healthcare, economic development, community development. Being an historian had an almost presentist goal for me. I wasn't interested in history just to write history. I was interested in what I could learn from history that we could apply in the present in developing public policies. In the 1960s, many Americans saw Appalachia as this other place. It was part of the other America. Most of us who both come from the region and studied the region over time now recognize that Appalachia is not the other America, and that the issues that Appalachian people face are fundamentally and deeply American issues, that in fact Appalachia is in many respects a mirror to the rest of American society. And if we could come to understand that, we could come to appreciate each other much more.